when good things become burdens. Let's say you've started a new spiritual practice. You're praying a bit more. You've even read multiple entries of good enough. Wonderful. Or if you haven't, thank you for humoring me. I'll proceed regardless. Let's assume that we are aiming to partake in some kind of spiritual act to guide us, sustain us, and help us live the life to which we've been called. Super. What could possibly go wrong? Well, two things. The first, perhaps most common, is that we are too lax. We forget or don't take it too seriously, and we never see the benefit of sticking with it. But for some of us, we take the rules too seriously. A rule becomes a law. Let me give you an example. My friend Rachel grew up as a Hutterite in that lesser-known Christian tradition, a spiritual cousin to the Amish and Mennonites, dedicated to communal living and devoted to simplicity. She grew up with the expectation that all prayer had to be done kneeling. At church and at home, she got on her knees to talk to God. But one night, she suffered a burst appendix and was rushed to the hospital. She lay awake that night convinced she was going to die, and terrified, tried to climb down off the gurney to pray. But she couldn't. She was tied into IV fluids, and suddenly the thought occurred to her, I'm going to die here, and I won't be ready. I can't ask for forgiveness or clear my conscience. I'm lying here, and God can't hear me. Now, regardless of whether you're the kind of person who has a lot of spiritual rules or none at all, we can see what happened to Rachel's thinking. The rule was originally designed to inspire humility, but the rule applied absolutely had become oppressive. Of course, God could hear her, but Rachel couldn't believe that unless she was on her knees. There are plenty of ways in which we vest rules with too much power. Our ideas become so rigid that they are held up over all other considerations. We adopted them thinking that they could help us live, but our rules can't anticipate every circumstance or meet every rising need. They just aren't flexible enough, smart enough, or compassionate enough. After all, a rule can't see you, or know you, or respond to you. We might not think we are the kind of people who have a lot of rules, but I bet there are some lurking around. The billions of dollars poured into the health and wellness industry are designed to create a sense of urgency around new rules that guarantee your well-being. Maybe you were told that you are not allowed to eat after 8 p.m., or that emptying your inbox was the only way to achieve organizational efficiency. And if you're old enough, maybe you can remember there was a time when you didn't have an inbox, and now it rules the universe. You can see the devolution from, hey, that's a neat idea, into an oppressive regime. You've been boxed out of your humanity by all these suggestions that seemed good at first glance. A rule that takes on absolute power becomes a blunt instrument, something that loses the purpose for which it was created. Any rule or ideology is only useful, helpful, and salutary if it is under the authority of a higher law, the law of love. And that law has in fact been established from the foundation of the world. God is love. This is the beautiful and central truth that grounds us when we seek to create practices that sustain life. God is alive. We seek a person, not a principle. The spiritual life you create is the space where God appears to you with the blessing that is for you. And here's the amazing thing. The little habits we create with God's guidance will actually be made to fit us, fit me, fit you, the particular you in this particular moment. Jesus said, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Matthew 11, verse 29 and 30. A yoke is a carved piece of wood that is made to fit over the neck of a farm animal so it can pull a cart or a wagon. If the yoke doesn't fit properly, it will chafe and the animal will not be able to do its job. A good yoke wouldn't be labeled generic ox. It would be made for that body, the slope of the shoulders, the breadth of the back. I know it's not very comforting to imagine ourselves as farm animals, but we know that we all carry burdens. We carry our lives on our backs. We need practices that fit us, that settle against the shape of our lives with ease. Then the point of spiritual practice is not only carry more, try harder, do better. It fits. It's easy. As Jesus says, it's light, I swear.